down for lunch. And before we ate, we said our prayers. We said, thank you, God, for this good food. And thank you, God, for the hands that made it. The New York State farm workers are the hands that made it. You are denied a day of rest, and still you pick our apples. Duck workers have to feed 350 ducks 4 times a day for 32 days in a row, never getting more than 4 hours of rest for 32 days. Still, they feed those ducks. The INS threatens to deport you. Still, you pick our onions. You are held in slavery. Still, you pick our cabbage. Growers threaten your lives. Still, you pick our corn. Your children are turned away from school, and still, you pick our lettuce. You grow sick from pesticides, and still, you pick zucchini. You have little protection from our labor laws, and still, you pick our peppers. This has got to stop. This is unacceptable in the United States of America, the richest and most powerful country on the face of the earth. Surely, in addition to prayers, we can provide protection of our labor laws, the ability to form unions, the protection rather than the threat of deportation from the INS. Surely, your housing should be decent and your wages should be living. Your kids ought to be able to go to school. You should have a weekly day of rest, overtime pay, disability insurance, unemployment insurance. These are the basic rights of all workers in our state and in our country, and they ought to apply to farm workers as well. With the passage of the Farm Workers Labor's Rights Act, we will have those laws. Today in Albany, well, a few years ago, the great humanitarian Margaret Mead said, "Don't ever doubt the capacity of a small group of determined people to change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has." Well, today in Albany, a small group of determined people is changing this world, and we have a chance to join them. So let's, as Democrats, as Republicans, as citizens of the United States of America, join these farm workers and finally bring justice to our state. 50 years ago, my father, Robert Kennedy, went to visit farm workers in upstate New York. And he visited also with Cesar Chavez. After his great fast on March 10, 1968, my father addressed a crowd of 6,000 farm workers. He said, "When your children and grandchildren take their place in America, going to high school and college and taking good jobs at good pay, when you look at them, you will say, 'I did this. I was there at the point of difficulty and danger.' And though you may be old and bent from years of labor, no man will stand taller than you when you say, 'I marched with Cesar.'" Well, there are few of us here today who were blessed enough to march with Cesar. But all of us are blessed enough to say, "We marched with the farm workers of the state of New York. And when you are old and bent, when we are old and bent, we will turn to our children and grandchildren and say, 'I was there at the point of difficulty and danger, and I marched with the New York farm workers.' And for that, we thank you. Sí se puede. Sí se